Okay. Good morning and welcome to the Sustainable Earth Eating Channel. My name is Jane DeMarines and I'm the Executive Director of Sustainable Earth Eating. And we're thrilled today to have with us Scott Nash, CEO of Mom's Organic Market, a giant in the organic food business, but an even bigger giant in his support and work for the environment. At the age of 22, Scott founded Mom's in his mother's garage, bought a sister station wagon for deliveries. Today, Mom's has more than 1,000 employees, 19 stores in 5 states. But I think even more significant, he donates more than $500,000 every year to environmental causes. There is much more to say about Scott, but let's hear it from him. Scott, welcome, and thank you for taking the time to do this interview today.
Thank you so much, Jane. Thanks for having me.
All right, well, let's get started. Mom's is known for having a distinct culture, which some have called toxic positivity. Could you talk a bit about this and explain how your training programs or employee selection relies on hiring perhaps upbeat, half-full personality types? And then as the second part, if you can relate that to any data on how it's good for business.
Yes. It's funny, I first heard that term toxic positivity I think a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, in the context of the pandemic, and I love that phrase, and I feel like that concept is there's a big element of denial in it, and just not feeling or realizing or being in our comfort bubbles, without really looking at the things, at the challenges that we face. So I love that that's been labeled as such, because that's what it is. Here, we're at Mom's, and me as a person, we're very aware and alert, and even almost we have urgency, and we don't sugarcoat at all environmentally what's happening to this planet. Everything we do, we put so much of our efforts, we really try and focus. There's a lot of causes out there in this world to support. We believe in focus, and we believe on focusing on the things that are, we think, the hugest threats to not just humanity, but the quality of life here on this planet worldwide. And so we really focus on climate change and plastics pollution. These are the two things that we put almost all of our energies into. Our staff is amazing in the stores. I think our culture is very, very special. And when I tell people, I join into our new hiring orientation groups, and I tell them, you're going to love your coworkers. By and large, they're really unique, and our customers are some of the greatest retail customers. I mean, if we have thousands of them, of course, we're going to get some people who they stand out as not so great. But by and large, our employees and our customers are some of the best in retail, in my opinion.
Well, following up on that, and particularly the part about your environmental work, we know about Mom's sustainability in your anti-waste goals. Could you talk a little bit more about, does this save your company any money? I love that you're saving the earth, but does it actually in some way save your company money? I know you don't have plastic bags. Any estimates on how much it might even save the consumer? I'm not sure those are things that are tracked, but
yeah,
that's my question.
I mean, a lot of our environmental work actually costs us money. Now, when it comes to waste, of course, environmental waste is horrible. I just hate all waste. I don't care what it is. I hate wasting, food. I hate wasting energy. I hate wasting time. It's just so yes. I mean, we're always trying to avoid all kinds of waste. And that includes, wasting money. We have a pretty powerful brand promise, in my opinion. And one of the things that we do at the store level to avoid wasting time, for example, is we let people in before we open and after we close. There's a grace period there, because we hate it when people come up, 1 minute after we close officially and we turn them away. It's just such a waste of time and gas, same with waiting in our checkout lines. Like we refuse to be a retailer who has a line of people waiting and only half of our registers open. So there's a wasting time element. There is the wasting of everything. We feel like even we got rid of plastic bags, which are cheap, which is why most people use them. But we hate plastic, and so we use paper bags. But even that is single use, even though it can be recycled and all that, and it's not. It is biodegradable. We still think it's waste. There's fuel to make and to transport these bags. So, for example, we just started charging more money for bags to get people to just stop mindlessly wasting them, and we sell beneath our cost our reusable biodegradable bags to give people an option to reduce their single-use bag, which is wasteful. And if I could just say one more thing on the waste thing, I'm a huge advocate for smart, intelligent, science-based, realistic food dating, because the food dating system, in my opinion, best by, expires on, freeze by, use by. It's confusing. I swear it's deliberate planned obsolescence by manufacturers.
I totally agree with that.
Totally. And that is, if you want to reduce our food waste, get something smart around our food dating system. That's the lowest hanging fruit with a massive impact overnight. If they could get that done well.
I totally agree with that. I grew up on a family of 7, and believe me, there was no food waste at my house. Was 7 children, so it was a family of 9. But my daughters come, and they didn't. I have 3 daughters, and when they visit, they go to my refrigerator and they start throwing out stuff that's expired. I said, "This is not expired."
No.
Condiments. I said, "These are not expired," and it's a little it's a little form of tension between us, because I'm in agreement with you, and I know these products aren't, because you can tell by tasting them, and they're fermented or whatever, or have vinegar in them, jelly. They could last 2 years and maybe more.
100%, and that's even the stuff that's been opened. There's stuff. The stuff that's unopened in cans and jars and bottles, it kind of never goes bad. Yet they'll put expiration dates or dates on everything. It's on salt now. It's on baby wipes. It's on, and this is why I think it's planned obsolescence. I think it's irresponsible that manufacturers just slap a date on everything because they like it when we throw things away.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So moving on to the next question, you are definitely someone ahead of your time when it comes to climate consciousness. I guess my question is, you came to it seems, way before it seemed so urgent. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, that's not my own doing. It's just my upbringing. My family, we were always kind of, we challenged conventionality, and whether that was social issues or environmental issues. So I got into organic foods in 1987, and it was nothing back then.
Right.
And that just wasn't some brilliant idea I had. That's just kind of the way I was raised. And so I got into it. And then I've always been an environmentalist. Back then in the 70s or 80s, whatever, before climate change was really a big issue. It was just mainly pollution, trash. That was the environmental issue of the day back then. So and it's so great to be in an industry that sells something that's environmental. We're not selling, bad things. And so we're very dedicated to organics. We're not really that dedicated to local products. We're not dedicated that much to natural products. Organics is the way to go for us, because for every time somebody buys something that's organic, it's preventing so many toxic chemicals from entering our ecosystems and our waterways. So we already saw this product that is inherently good for the environment, and we just felt like we could double down, quadruple down on that, and really make a company with a purpose of in all aspects protecting and restoring the environment.
It's fantastic. And this is following up, this question is following up on something you did say about your upbringing. So your philosophy, clearly caring about your employees, can you track that back to your upbringing? Were your parents your role models? It sounds like they were. And just tying it again to the business, and not sure if it's relevant. Is there reduced turnover, would you say, at moms, or is that compared to the industry, or is that even really a realistic goal when you're in major cities or big metropolitan areas?
Yeah, you know, I mean, we feel like in management in particular, we have good retention. You know, retail, grocery, and in this pandemic, and we had half our staff walk off in a week. And you know, the labor market has been unlike any labor market since I've been alive, and so retention really isn't, or turnover is just, it's just so distorted now by conditions out there that you can't read anything into it these days. You know, when it comes to, I mean, I never forget. I remember watching the Democratic National Convention, and Jesse Jackson gave what I thought was the best speech I've ever heard at any convention, and it was he was talking about the people who ride the bus to work, how they're harder working than even people like me, right? Like executives, white collar workers, like it's these people who work these hard jobs that deserve so much credit, yeah, and so I've always kind of, I mean, I think I was brought up always rooting for the underdog, or those who are unseen, whether that's minorities or you know, gays, or those who work so hard, and so that's why. And you know, it's funny, I mean, I've always lobbied to raise the federal minimum wage and to raise taxes on the wealthy, you know, because I feel like it's not fair. You know, you know, how people work. I think yeah, and in the pandemic, that's really driven that home. Like these essential frontline workers, you know, we've really had to, you know, this has been the toughest 3 years of my career since this pandemic, and it's still tough. Supply chain issues, safety, you know, a lot of anxiety from